Right now at 6, the search for clues over what caused a small plane to clip power lines, then crash.
Pilot reported issues with controllability. What those issues are, we are going to find out.
As families driven out of their homes cope with the destruction left behind.
Plus, a terrifying night on I-5 in Washington.
Because any one of us could have been that unwitting victim simply trying to drive down the interstate.
New details on the half-dozen shootings that hurt several people.
And drug decriminalization in Oregon runs into reality.
And we called a couple places to see if we could get them in right away. Unfortunately, that's not usually how it works.
How the process is already playing out on the streets and inside the courtroom. We begin at 6 with brand new images that shed some light on the final moments before a small plane went down in Fairview over the weekend, killing 3 people. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. A warning, the pictures may be difficult to look at, but they give a full depiction of the plane clipping power lines, bursting into flames before crashing into a row of townhomes. A surveillance camera at a nearby RV park captured the final few moments of that flight. The NTSB says the pilot reported issues before going down.
Yeah, grim to look at when you realize 2 people on board lost their lives. We have live team coverage now with Daisy Caballero in Fairview, speaking with neighbors whose lives have been upended. But first, to Kyle Laboshi in the newsroom with those new images and an update on the investigation. Kyle.
Well, federal investigators admit it could take up to 18 months to figure out what happened. But a last-minute radio transmission from the pilot provides a critical clue. The small plane was having control problems just moments after takeoff. The twin-engine Cessna 421C took off from Troutdale Airport around 10:20 Saturday morning, and within minutes, the pilot reported problems to air traffic control.
412 Golf is having some handling problems. This is a test flight. I can't get this thing.
Federal investigators say the small plane was conducting a maintenance test flight.
During that maintenance test flight, the pilot reported issues with controllability. What those issues are, we are going to find out.
Air traffic control tried to get the plane to circle back. A second person on board responded.
Can you land runway 7?
We're going to try, not sure.
But the small plane didn't make it. A security camera at a nearby RV park captured these images of the plane clipping a power line before crashing into a row of townhouses in Fairview, less than a mile and a half from the Troutdale Airport.
It shook. I can't even explain. I've never heard anything so loud.
Video shows the intense blaze after impact. Fire and police went door to door evacuating residents. At least 2 homes were destroyed.
I never knew what it really meant to lose everything, but the pictures and all the memories and things.
3 people died in the crash. 2 people on board the plane, along with a resident in one of the townhouses. The Fairview development is still cordoned off as investigators examine the crash site.
Our job today is to collect perishable information. Perishable information is any information that can disappear as a matter of time within the environment.
Federal investigators will also review weather, flight tracking data, pilot history, and surveillance video to help piece together what happened and why. The National Transportation Safety Board is expected to release a preliminary report into the crash within 30 days.
And of course, their goal to make recommendations, not assign blame here. Kyle, appreciate that. Let's bring in Daisy Caballero now live where that plane went down.
Daisy, you spoke with 2 of the 3 families who lost their homes in this plane crash. What a tough situation.
Yeah, David, Christine, as you guys can imagine, it's been pretty difficult to grapple with everyone's new reality here. Both families that we spoke to are displaced. One is a married couple and another is a single mother with a young daughter. Now, both of these families are more than just neighbors. They are actually related through marriage. The married couple, Tom and Judy, have lived here for 20 years. They're not only grieving their lost home, but also her best friend next door, who she says was killed in the crash. The couple tells us Tom was actually inside of the home resting after surgery while she stepped outside to the clubhouse. Next thing she knows, her house was on fire with her husband inside trying to get out alive. Tom recounts seeing stuff blowing through the room, now realizing it was the airplane that actually had just crashed.
I just was thrown across into the bathtub, and I somehow looked around and saw insulation everywhere, and I just stood up like I was a feather, and I walked out. I walked across broken glass and didn't get a scratch.
The single mom, Kim, tells me she, her dad, and her daughter, Morgan, took a last-minute trip to the coast the night before the crash, so thankful they weren't home at the time. Her 3 cats were, though, but made it out alive, with one of them jumping out of the 3rd floor. Now, both families are currently staying with friends and family until they officially get back on their feet. And of course, if you would like to help them out, we will have their GoFundMe pages up on our website, KGW.com, a little later tonight. David, Christine, back to you guys.
Yeah, I hope those families get the help they need. Thank you, Daisy. Okay, we are taking you outside now, looking at downtown Portland there from our Wells Fargo Skycam, where it is about 75 degrees at this point. For sure, a fall-like start at the beginning of this week, but gosh, things will be changing up here pretty quickly.
If only we could stay in the 70s. Chief Meteorologist Matt Zafitos here. Matt, we're talking likely triple digits. What is the timing looking like here?
Yeah, we had a pretty good change today from the clouds this morning to the clear blue sky, which is what we're going to hold on to for the next couple of days. So tomorrow we warm up. We'll be in the 90s. But not too far into the 90s. Thursday and Friday are the hot days, up around 100. Then we get cooling over the weekend. So let's look at this a little bit more further. First of all, we've got an excessive heat warning up for the Willamette Valley from 10 a.m. on Thursday till 10 p.m. on Friday. Along with that, there's a fire weather watch in the gorge for the potential of dangerous fire weather behavior if we get fire weather starts. No lightning, hot weather, super low humidity and some wind. That's a fire weather concern. So weather impact alert days for Thursday and Friday because of 100-degree heat. So again, let's dig into that a little bit more. The heat wave, first of all, the September record is 105 degrees. That was set 36 years ago yesterday on the 2nd of September back in 1988. The latest date in the year that Portland's ever hit 100 degrees is on the 5th of September. That's this Wednesday. We hit 101 way back in 1944. We average only 2 90-degree days in the month of September. We will easily eclipse that. But this is the interesting one. September 5th, the record of 101 degrees. Well, guess what? Let's look at the records for the next 3 days. Tomorrow, the record pretty safe, 98, forecasting 94. But on Thursday, I'm forecasting 101. So we would not only tie the record for the day, we would tie the record for hitting 100 so late in the season in Portland. Also stand a good chance of breaking the daily record on Friday. So the bottom line is lots of records. It's going to be hot on Thursday and Friday. We'll get relief over the weekend, guys.
Yeah, summer not over yet.
Nope.
Thank you, Matt. In your headlines, officers have arrested a suspect they say is connected to a shooting spree on I-5 in the Seattle area that injured at least 6 people. 3 of the shootings were on the northbound side in King County between 8:30 and 9 Monday night. Then a few hours later, around 11, there were 3 more shootings, this time on southbound I-5 in King and Pierce counties. A driver from Portland who was in the area at the time told police their vehicle was also hit by a bullet. Troopers say the suspect vehicle matched in each case, and they made an arrest around 2 in the morning.
There's absolutely no reason to suggest these were anything but innocent people driving down the road trying to get from point A to point B, and for whatever reason became the victims of this unwarranted, unprovoked attack.
At least 2 victims are in the hospital. One of them suffered serious injuries.
There is a new $300 million lawsuit in the case of a Medford nurse accused of stealing patients' fentanyl and swapping it with tap water, leading to numerous infections. The Oregonian reports 9 surviving patients and the families of 9 who died filed the medical malpractice and wrongful death suit against Asante Rogue Regional Medical Center today. They say the hospital is responsible for the nurse's alleged actions. Former nurse Danny Marie Schofield has been charged with assaulting 44 patients over 2 years. One family already filed a separate $11.5 million lawsuit.
To a busy holiday weekend for Portland police as they teamed up with other agencies to keep impaired drivers off the streets. Authorities say they arrested at least 14 people for driving under the influence. One of those drivers, officers say, crashed into a police cruiser early Sunday morning in North Portland, injuring 2 officers. Police also issued more than 120 tickets and 22 warnings.
More than 4,000 Fred Meyer workers are, as of this morning, done striking at 28 stores in the Portland metro area. But their union is still calling on shoppers to boycott the stores until they get a fair contract. They say negotiations have stalled over wages and retirement. The union also accuses Fred Meyer of unfair labor practices. Fred Meyer says those allegations are unfounded.
And we're keeping an eye on several wildfires that sparked over the weekend, including the fast-growing Oak Canyon fire in Wasco County. It's burning to the east of Tye Valley along the Deschutes River. Officials say a lightning strike sparked it Sunday, and it's since grown to more than 15,000 acres with 20% containment. An emergency closure is now in effect for all BLM lands on both sides of the river, and boating on the Deschutes is closed for Section 3. Lightning, by the way, also started another wildfire just a few miles west near Conroy Road. Level 3 go now evacuation orders remain in place along Conroy Road and north of Highway 216. Meanwhile, officials in Klamath County say the Copperfield fire burning near the community of Chiloquin has destroyed 7 homes that has burned about 3,000 acres and is 0% contained.
This evening, we are continuing to follow the impact of drugs now recriminalized in Oregon. Some people are getting arrested instead of getting treatment.
Well, let's check in with Blair Best downtown, who's been watching how this plays out inside Multnomah County Court. Blair?
So since Sunday, 6 people have been arrested for drug possession in Portland, and we're learning few are facing charges solely for possession because they have other things like felonies on their records, making them ineligible for deflection, that option of treatment over jail. It's the first look at the consequences of Oregon's new law, making possession of hard drugs a crime again. Page 40. Since Sunday, when the law changed, Portland police have arrested 6 people for possession, among other things like felonies, including drug dealing. 3 were due in court Tuesday afternoon. But ask anyone in charge, the point of all this is not to criminalize addiction.
Addiction is really a public health concern.
That's why, under the new law, those caught solely with possession, nothing else, get the option of deflection, treatment over jail.
In the last 3 days, out of 10 people, 4 people have gone to deflection, so that's 40%.
We watched it play out firsthand Tuesday morning on the corner of Northwest Everett Street and 3rd Avenue.
They saw me put a foil in my pocket, but I wasn't smoking nothing.
That was enough for police to stop him. He qualified for deflection.
I don't know if I want to do it or not.
Why?
Because I want to be out here with my family.
He chose it anyways.
Because I didn't want to go to jail.
Here's police waiting about 10 minutes for the outreach workers to show up.
Do you want to go to detox or treatment?
All right, let's take off.
Police left and the outreach workers made phone calls to treatment and detox centers for another 20 minutes. Nothing was available.
So we gave him the proper documentation to either get a hold of us again because he doesn't have a phone, and we told him to show up at Hooper Detox tomorrow and every day this week until he gets in there.
Until then, he's left on the street.
I'm 33, but I've been out here since I was 12.
Well, we told him the consequences of, not following up. He's got the piece of paper that says he's done the first part of the deflection process, so the next part's really up to him.
All right, so back to those in court. One case was dismissed and the person was released because there were no available attorneys to represent him. In another case, the DA chose not to prosecute, so they closed it. And the third case, the judge set $75,000 bail because that man also faced charges for drug dealing. Back to you.
Thank you, Blair. Appreciate that progress report on how this is all unfolding.